Whether in the outdoor or indoor playhouses, the stages of Shakespeare's time were different from ours. They were not separated from the audience by the dropping of a curtain between acts and scenes. Therefore, the playwrights of the time had to find other ways of signaling to the audience that one scene, to be imagined as occurring in one location at a given time, had ended, and the next, to be imagined at perhaps a different location at a later time, had begun. The customary way used by Shakespeare and many of his contemporaries was to have everyone on stage exit at the end of one scene and have one or more different characters enter to begin the next. In a few cases where characters remain on stage from one scene to another, the dialogue of stage action makes the change of location clear, and the characters are generally to be imagined as having moved from one place to another. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, Romeo and his friends remain on stage in Act 1 from Scene 4 to Scene 5, but they are represented as having moved between scenes from the street that leads to Capulet's house into Capulet's house itself. The new location is signaled in part by the appearance on stage of Capulet's serving men carrying napkins, something they would not take into the streets. Playwrights had to be quite resourceful in the use of hand properties like the napkin, or the use of dialogue to specify where the action was taking place in their plays, because, in contrast to most of today's theaters, the playhouses of Shakespeare's time did not use movable scenery to dress the stage and make the setting precise. As another consequence of this difference, however, the playwrights of Shakespeare's time did not have to specify exactly where the action of their plays was set when they did not choose to do so, and much of the action of their plays is tied to no specific place. Usually Shakespeare's stage is referred to as a bare stage to distinguish it from the stages of the last 2 or 3 centuries with their elaborate sets. But the stage in Shakespeare's time was not completely bare. Philip Henslow, owner of the Rose, lists in his inventory of stage properties a rock, 3 tombs, and 2 mossy banks. Stage directions in plays of the time also call for such things as thrones or estates, banquets, presumably tables with plaster replicas of food on them, and beds and tombs to be pushed onto the stage. Thus the stage often held more than the actors. The actors did not limit their performing to the stage alone. Occasionally they went beneath the stage, as the ghost appears to do in the first act of Hamlet. From there they could emerge onto the stage through a trapdoor. They could retire behind the hangings across the back of the stage or the front of the tiring house, as, for example, the actor playing Polonius does when he hides behind the arras. Sometimes the hangings could be drawn back during a performance to discover one or more actors behind them. When performance required that an actor appear above, as when Juliet is imagined to stand at the window of her chamber in the famous and misnamed balcony scene, then the actor probably climbed the stairs to the gallery over the back of the stage and temporarily shared it with some of the spectators. The stage was also provided with ropes and winches so that the actors could descend from and reascend to the heavens.